Hello and welcome to my creative castle. If you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for choosing to come back, hang out, and talk yarn with me. Yeah, that's right. And if you're brand new to my channel, well, I'm sure you could probably guess if you're sighted and you can see what's on the screen, right? There's a mountain of yarn in front of me. And well, that's because we're going to talk about yarn, because that's what we do here. I mean, we do a few other things here on this channel too, but really, let me introduce myself if you are new. Hi, my name's May. I love yarn. I mean, really, I love yarn. I love to knit and crochet. Those are my hobbies. I also happen to have been born visually impaired, legally blind, completely colorblind. So I mostly knit and crochet by feel. Now, I love to talk about yarn a lot. The only thing that I love to do more than talk about yarn probably is like touch it, play with it, knit with it, crochet with it. And if you come back and you watch my videos, or you do watch my videos, you know I can talk and knit and crochet, right? Do it all at the same time. But that's not what we're doing today. Today, we're going to talk about Brava. Why are we going to talk about Brava? Well, Brava is the yarn of the month at Knit Picks. And what does it mean to be the yarn of the month at Knit Picks? That means that the yarn is 20% off in the month of September 2025. That's right. So if you've never tried Brava and you want to, well, hey, it's a great opportunity to try it. And of course, if you love it, it just might be your opportunity to stock up on all the colors. That's right. So, Brava, let's see. Well, first of all, let me just say, I'm a customer of Knit Picks, but I am not an affiliate. I don't get a discount. I don't get a percentage. They didn't ask me to make this video. They didn't sponsor this video. They did not send me free yarn about this video, which means you get my 100% customer experience, right? I'll tell you what I think of yarns on this channel. You'll get the truth without worrying about, is she just saying that so they'll send her more free yarn? Nope, you'll get the truth from me. So, okay, so why, let's see, Brava, so Brava is a 100% premium acrylic yarn. Because it's acrylic, that means it is easy care, it is durable, it is hard wearing. So the combination of machine wash, cold, tumble dry, low, and you know that durability of acrylic makes it a great yarn for baby projects, baby blankets, baby sweaters, baby hats, and like charity type donations. Most charities, there are some charities that actually want wools. We can talk about that in another video, but the majority of your charity crafting and knitting and crochet do want acrylics, especially like Camp Boggy Creek, where they get blankets for sick children, a lot of your homeless shelters, nursing homes, pet shelters, wherever you like to do your charity knitting for. The majority of them want durable, hard-wearing, machine washable acrylics, and that way they don't have to worry about allergies, right? And they also can say, like, for the sick kids, they might need to wash their blankets often. For hospitals, right, for nursing homes, anybody who might need to be in situations where, you know, I mean, we all need to wash our blankets, you know, somewhat regularly. So acrylic can be super easy, super handy that way. So let's talk about it, okay? Let's talk about it, because the Brava, this is so cool, okay? Brava comes in not one, not two, not three, but four weights. That's right. That is right. Brava comes in 4 weights of yarns. It comes in bulky, it comes in worsted, it comes in sport, and they just released a brand new baby DK. And guess what? We got some in the house to try out. And then with the worsted, they got the regular worsted, they got the big old Brava 500s, they got the big old jumbo skeins that are over 1,000 yards, and those are included in the sale. Yeah, they are. So if you want to get one of these, it's a great time to get one. In fact, the Brava worsted, as most you know, the worsted is generally the most popular weight, so they do have the most colors. The worsted also comes in stripe, it comes in tweed, it comes in speckle. We got a little bit of everything in the house today. So let's first talk about the worsted first. Okay, we might just kind of talk about things as we stumble upon it. Okay, let's be real. We got a mountain of yarn here to talk about and get through. So, if you're a returning viewer, you've seen it numerous times. My feather and fan blanket, right? My feather and fan blanket. There is a tutorial for this blanket on my channel. This is feather and fan. It's a 6-row repeat. I made it in Brava worsted. However, you can see behind me, this version is made in a discontinued yarn called Snuggle Puff, right? Which is a heavy arid, so you can absolutely make this feather and fan blanket. I mean, look bigger. I mean, look at the size of this, right? So, this baby blanket that we made on the channel together took probably about 700 to 800 yards. I used one of those large Brava 500 skeins, and I didn't even use the whole thing. Here's one. Okay, we've got one in Clarity, I believe. I did label this one in Braille. Yes, yes. Yes, I did. This is the Clarity. I'll be honest with you, as somebody who's colorblind, the Clarity is a super, super, super light blue, and it looks just like the mint green to me. But I have, used this one a little bit, but I haven't taken any off of it. Okay, so this is the Clarity. This is the color of the Clarity. It's a super, super light blue. It's so beautiful, but it does look white to me, as somebody who's colorblind. So this is about 1,000 meters, and I think that's about 1,092 yards or something like that. These are included in the sale, and when I made that feather and fan blanket, I probably used 700 to 800 yards of one of these. So you could definitely make a full-size baby blanket with one of these. If you wanted to make one like the size of the one behind me, you'd probably need, you'd probably need at least 2 to 3 of these big ones, but you could, right? I mean, you absolutely could. You could get 4 of these and make a big queen size one. You want to do that? You guys want to do that? That'd be fun. Yeah. But these are, I believe these are 11. What's your book, Baxter? Oh my goodness. Baxter dropped this book. Huh. First time he's let go of it since we gave it to him. Let's see how big the Brava 500s are. I believe the Brava 500s are, how much are they? Brava 500, worsted, $11.99 right now for the Brava 500. So this is the color Clarity in the worsted weight. It's only the worsted weight that comes in the 500s. This is, I believe this is hunter green. Let me check my little card in here. It says either green or red. I got these giant ones in green and red for Christmas. This is the green. This is a beautiful, they have the worsted weight in several, 5, excuse me. The 500s only come in your basic colors, like your red, your green, your white, your dove gray, your heather gray, your Clarity. They got a blush pink. They have, I believe they have a purple and a few other shades, but not as many. So this is the dark hunter green. That's a really dark, beautiful, beautiful Christmas green. You could use this dark green in your Christmas projects. You could also use it in, I think you could really use it in your autumn projects, right? Your falls with your browns and your reds. They also have in the worsted weight, they have several greens. So they have a Dublin green, they have a pea pod, so you could mix up your greens and get a really beautiful blanket there. So I have several of these Brava 500s. I really feel like I should get more of them. I'm trying so hard not to, but you know what? They're just so handy. So I don't know. I'm super, super tempted to grab more of those because, you know, making blankets, right? So we got that. Where did that come from? Oh, that's from my Clarity. I was like, why do I have an empty bag? I keep my yarn in the extra bags, by the way, because I am colorblind. If I know that like the Ziploc bags, they're super crinkly and annoying and they're loud, right? But if I didn't keep my yarn separated by color, I would. Oops, I left my green braille tag out. OMG, right? Put that away in there before I forgot. So let's briefly take a look at. Let's see if I have any other. The worsted weight. I thought I had one more skein worsted out here. And nope, that's not it. That's not it. If I can't find it, we'll just move on. This is the Brava worsted in. This is the size of the worsted weight schemes, the regular worsted weight, where they have about 5 different blues, about 5 different greens. And this is the, I think this is the color mulberry. So it's a really nice, rich, dark purple. And these are, I believe they're about 218 yards for these, and they are, I think they're $3.99 right now. I'm pretty sure that the worsted is $3.99.
Brava worsted, heading 3 link, collapsed. Brava worsted, heading 3 link, worsted,
$3.19. I'm so glad I checked. I would have told you $3.99.
Brava sport, $3.19.
$3.19. That's a deal, y'all. That's like $3.20. Yeah, that's a good deal, y'all. That's the mulberry. That's beautiful. So lots and lots of colors there. 218 yards. And then with the worsted weight, you can also get your tweeds. And I like that because I think it's harder to find a nice acrylic tweed, in my opinion. There's lots of wool tweeds. There's some superwash wool tweeds. There's alpaca tweeds. I've seen a lot of non-superwash wool tweeds even that are beautiful, but I haven't found a lot of good acrylic tweeds, okay? And so they have an acrylic tweed, and here it is. I even worked up a swatch. This is called Chimney Sweep. This is like a black with some grays and some cream nups, and they're so pretty. We got some single crochet on the bottom. We got some half doubles. I did some V stitches real quickly. I just wanted to work with it. If you listen to some of my Whip Wednesday video earlier, I'm trying to think when it was, and I want to say it was my Whip Wednesday from the first week of September, maybe September 3rd, and I was talking about participating in a MAL and Make Along with Juan the Yarn Addict, and we were doing a cardi where we wanted to double strand it. Well, let me just tell you, this was the yarn that I started out working with, and I thought it was going to be gorgeous. I just didn't know if I had enough of it in the house. And also, I wasn't crazy about double stranding at the time. I need to practice that though and get better. But I don't know why, y'all. I frogged that entire piece that I made, and I'm like, why did I do that? Right? Because here I am doing a video about Brava being the yarn of the month and 20% off. So having that big old swatch worked up would have been perfect. So I had to rework it up for y'all today. But look at that. This is going to make a beautiful cardi, beautiful sweater, whatever I choose to do with it, whether it's knit or crochet or whatever. It's going to be beautiful. So I like this color in the Chimney Sweep. I think it would look beautiful in like knit cables or crochet cables. I mean, come on. But if you are a returning viewer, you know if I'm going to have problems with a yarn, it's gonna be with crochet. Okay, I don't really have problems with knitting with yarns, but I do sometimes have problems with like crocheting with yarns, with them splitting. When I crocheted this, I had this big old rectangle piece done for my cardi, and I had no issues crocheting with it at all. Like it didn't split or didn't get fuzzy or nothing. Even the tweed, okay, you got these little tweedy nubs in there, even that didn't split and fray and get fuzzy on me. It crochets up beautifully. Um, and I'll be honest with you, when I was learning to crochet, I tried a number of yarns. Of course, I tried the Lily Sugar and Cream and the Dishy, and I did work up because my first projects were like dishcloths, right? So did start out with that, and I worked with some comfy cotton. But the easiest yarn for me when I was learning to crochet was definitely Brava, okay? As much as I like natural fibers, I'll be the first to tell you that sometimes when you're learning to crochet, a nice, durable, really forgiving acrylic is great. It just doesn't split as much as some of the cottons. It doesn't get as fuzzy as some of the wools. Plus, it's affordable. And when you're learning to crochet, you're probably going to do a lot of frogging, right? Which is rip it, right? Rip it. You're probably going to do a lot of frogging. And it's much, much more forgiving than some of the other wools and natural fibers and alpacas and things. When you're trying to frog and rip out and rework over and over, those wools and those natural fibers can really fray and fuzz up and be a little persnickety, right? So I love them. I love my natural fibers, but I'll be the first to tell you, learning to crochet with Brava was far easier than any other yarn that I was practicing on. So I think the Brava tweed is beautiful. It comes in a really beautiful red called poinsettia. I feel like I need some of that. It comes in an elderberry. We do have it in this heron color, which I don't even remember what color heron is. I want to say it's a blue gray or something, or green maybe? Rabbit tweed. We'll check up on what color heron is. Heron. Because it might... Okay. You hear that? That's why if you're colorblind or you have vision issues, shopping at Knit Picks is amazing, right? Because of these color descriptions. It's blue with gray with coffee and cream and black nuts. I mean, that's a lot of info, right? So look at how pretty that is. And I got about 4 skeins of that. I think I was probably thinking about making like a baby sweater. Would that not make an adorable little baby sweater in this little tweed? Yeah, so stinking cute, right? So I love to make baby garments. I don't have children or grandchildren, but I still love to make baby stuff and give it away, donate it, make a big old bag and donate it, send it off to somebody that I know who's having a child or something. So I think I got that thinking that would make a really adorable baby sweater. So that's some of the tweed. Let's see. We looked at the feather and fan blanket. So let's get that out of the way. Let's look at let's talk about the Brava stripe before we move on. Okay, so Brava stripe, this is in the color Orchid. Their stripe comes in, their skeins, I think they have about 5 different colors in them. And like this is the Orchid, so I think it's got like 4 different purples and then like a white. And they tend to do that, like take a color and give you like 3 or 4 shades and then a couple of neutrals. And I really like that. I have worked it up in crochet. Let's see, where did I put my crochet? I crocheted a hat and a scarf. This is the Last Frontier beanie by Juan the Yarn Addict. It's a free YouTube tutorial. This is in the color Cafe, C-A-F-E. I do believe that's a discontinued color. Unfortunately, I wish that they hadn't done that. I think it's really nice. And this is just a super, super simple scarf that I did. This scarf is just double crochets, and then it's like some big old solid granny square pockets and some fringe, right? Like, look at those big old pockets. How fun is that, right? So, so if you're like me and you're colorblind and you struggle to put colors together, it can be nice to just let them put the colors together. Um, so that's nice. And for this scarf and this hat, I did not color control it. I just left the yarn in its a la natural, right? My yarn is a la natural. We let the yarn run wild. This is free range yarn, okay? We let it run wild. We didn't color control it. We let it do its thing. So this is what you get if you don't color control it. You will get color changes in the middle of your rows, you know. The only downside that I'm going to tell you about as somebody who's colorblind, if you're visually impaired or you're colorblind like myself, is that the skeins don't necessarily start on the same color, okay? So if you're trying to make something that matches, like, you know, socks, you're going to need to get some sighted assistance with that, okay? I know. Yeah, ask me how I know. I tried. My socks don't match, okay? So, but it still is nice for things like beanies, and I think for the scarves. And I did make my pockets with the Dublin green off that great big skein of the Brava 500. So I thought the browns and the greens looked really cool together for like kind of an autumny, right, scarf. And so also, this is great if you're brand new to crochet and you just want to practice double crochet. That's all that this scarf is double crochet. And so it's a great yarn to practice like your half doubles or your double crochets. And because, you know, if you just want to like practice double crochet over and over and over, but you're like in a plain color, that's kind of boring, right? You're like, that's kind of boring, right? So it's nice to have a self-striping yarn, because this entire scarf, except for the pockets and the fringe, is just double crochet, right? So if you're new and you're like, I need to practice double crochet, I need to practice keeping my edges straight, I need to practice maintaining my stitch count. Who's that? That's me. When I learned how to crochet, I struggled with keeping my edges straight and keeping my stitch count the same. And so I was like, I just need to practice double crochet over and over and over, right? Until I can maintain my stitch count. And so a self-striping yarn like this is a great way to just practice your double crochet, practice your edges, practice maintaining your stitch count, not get bored with the same color. Now, they do have some new colors. Sadly, they've discontinued this cafe. They've discontinued some of the other colors, but they do have some brand new colors. Yeah, they do. So, so we have that. I like it. I think it's super, super fun. I'm just trying to figure out how to make socks match with it, okay? But that's fun, right? That's fun. So, let's talk about, we can talk about Brava Sport. I'm going to be just like super transparent and real. Like when I talk about yarns, I like to have tried to work with them some. Now, sometimes I do talk about a yarn of the month. Let's see what else is on this bed. You know, let's talk about Brava Speckle briefly, because in the worsted way, it also comes in a speckle. And this is called Snow Day, which I believe is a white base with like grays and blues, I believe. They have several colors in the speckle. Now, I did not have a chance to work this up, so I don't know how the speckles are going to end up looking. I don't know. I have no idea what kind of pattern. And obviously, if you're doing like knit, you know, versus single crochet and double crochet and cables and things like that, it's all going to look different, right? I think it could be beautiful with just a plain old simple stitch, but I think you could certainly fancy it up with some cables too. So I don't think I do something, it's, you know, these speckle yarns tend to be kind of busy, right? So I probably wouldn't do like a fancy lace stitch or something like that. But I think you could just, it could be another yarn if you're learning to crochet and you just want to practice like a half double or a double or some kind of simple stitch. I think these pattern yarns can really add to it without feeling like it's a boring project to you visually. But it, keeps it interesting visually for sighted people. Um, allowing you to practice some basic stitches, right? So you could even do like just a simple garter and stockinette type blanket with this. Or you could even do, I think, some knit cables with it would probably look fine too. But, I think some stitches, I just, my thoughts is that some stitches this yarn might be too busy for. But that's just my opinion, right? Some people love busy yarns too. I know that. Like visually, some people love that. So, I'm just telling you my thoughts on that. Okay. So let's talk about Brava Sport briefly. And I have not worked with the Brava Sport. These are larger. The skeins are the same weight, right? The skeins are the same weight, but the yardage is different. And I think the yardage on the Brava Sport, it's something like 300 and maybe like 340 or something like that yards. And I think it's also
6:30. Device
I
unlocked.
think it's also
Brava yarn. 0%.
oh,
New. Sale.
that's not what I'm looking for.
Brava Sport.
Brava Sport.
Sport 100% premium acrylic. $3.99.
$3.19.
Brava Sport.
And I think it's like 340 yards or something like that. Let's scroll down through the colors. There's a lot of colors. Sienna, cobblestone heather, that's a gray. 340 yards. Okay, 340 yards for your skeins in the Sport. So these skeins will go a long ways. This is the color almond, which is kind of like a khaki tan, like a nice neutral, which would of course go with that sienna. They have several browns and neutrals, so you could do like that, or you could use the almond as sort of a neutral to go with some of your reds and your greens and your yellows, right? And then of course we have Brava Sport in the mulberry again, because I just love my purples, right? So there's still a really nice color palette in the Sport. I don't know if they have quite as many shades available, but a really, really nice color palette with that. So, let's talk about Brava. Let's talk about the Brava Baby, because that's the brand new one, okay? And we can talk about, you know what, we can talk about, okay. I knit a pumpkin out of the Brava worsted, and I thought it made great pumpkin. Look at that pumpkin, right? Look at that pumpkin. So I knit a pumpkin out of it. I thought the pumpkin turned out good. So I would definitely, this is Brava worsted. Oopsie, I lost my stem and my bow. I put bows on my little pumpkins, put a little cinnamon stick in there for the stem. So I think, I keep losing my stem and my cinnamon stick. But I think it makes great knit pumpkins in the orange, right? So we got a knit pumpkin in the orange. So let's talk about the Brava Sport. If you're a returning viewer, you know I have, or the Brava Baby, excuse me. So I have the Brava Baby in black. This is the brand new member to the family. I guess that would make sense that the baby's the new member to the family, right? So I had to get some in the house. As somebody who does yarn content, I better try that, right? I better try that. So we have it in black. And of course, I got some in orange. I believe this is the orange. This is the black. I got some in the orange, and I did crochet up a pumpkin with the Brava Baby. Now, I did this on a 3.75 millimeter hook, and I'm going to be honest with you. It split a lot. And the Brava Baby, let me just say, the Brava Baby is the softest of all of the Brava family. Okay, you can tell I have a lot of Brava here, right? I got a lot of it. And the Brava Baby, right? This is the orange that we made our pumpkin out of. It is super, super soft. So I don't know with the brand new yarn line if they decided like they wanted to get a new formula, you know what I mean, to do up the acrylic in. But it is softer than the worsted. It's softer than the sport. It's softer than the bulky. But I did find it really, really splitty when I crocheted with it. Part of it is because I think I use such a tiny hook to do the pumpkin in. And I'm not good at crochet amigurumi at all. Like when I knit that pumpkin in the Brava worsted, no problems. I can knit with yarn and have no problems with it. But if I try to use a small crochet hook, like a 3.75, and I try to do these tight little stitches, right, to shape something, it split a lot. It split. So I had issues with the Brava Baby splitting, but it's definitely soft. Okay, it is. It's very, very soft, and I'm not sure what the difference is, how they did that, why they did that. I did start to knit with it as well because I like to try to knit and crochet with things. So I've talked on my channel, but maybe we'll do some black and orange striped stockings or socks or something with it, right? So yeah, we got some on the needles. It is super, super soft. This is the Brava Baby, and the black and the orange is super soft. I did have issues with knitting, but it wasn't the yarn, okay? It was like operator error. I don't know what, lack of sleep, brain fog. I don't even know what. There were some operator issues that we're not going to get into in this video. But let's just say we had to do some frogging, but it wasn't the yarn's fault. The yarn knits up beautifully, right? Look at that. That's what it's going to look like in a striped sock on a number 4 needle. So a 3.5 knitting needle. We got our orange. We got our black. And then, of course, I have showed you the gray before as well. It's a nice, light, really, really light, kind of a dove almost, kind of a heathery gray, very pretty, very nice neutral again to work up like with, you know, like maybe other grays and whites and blacks, or to use it as like a base for like maybe like a granny square blanket or something. You could do like a heather gray base and then work up your squares and like, you know, red and green or something like that. So let's see, this is my orange that we were just talking about. This is my orange. So let's put this over here because I might need that. And of course, we can talk about Brava Bulky, and usually what's behind me on the bed, the Victorian Star Blanket, which is a free YouTube tutorial designed by Glenda from Creative Grandma, right? So this blanket, now she designed it, it's free YouTube. She designed it with Lion Brand Hue and Me, which is a chunky, bulky number 5 yarn. I chose to substitute with the Brava Bulky because it's what I had in the house. And a bunch of something going on out there with a bunch of colors, and I chose to use the brindle, the canary, the red, the brindle canary red, peapod Dublin, and sienna. So these are just 6 of the colors that you can get in Brava Bulky. And I've got a bunch of my leftovers here. I should still have these. Yeah, these should still have, I put Braille on the labels. If you're wondering how somebody who's colorblind and mostly blind manages a project with multiple colors, she puts Braille on the labels, okay? There's my Braille on my label. And I put the canary on there so that I know that that's my canary yellow. So that is the yellow. I know there's not a lot of the yellow on the blanket, but that's what the yellow looks like. Oh, we got a few other colors here. What is this, I wonder? You know what? I'm not even sure what this is. Just to be honest with you. I don't know what that is. So, that happens to me sometimes. This is another one of my leftovers from that blanket. This is the Dublin green, right? That's a really beautiful dark green. I love that. That's a green I can wear. There's a lot of greens I can't wear. I can't wear the super light greens. This Dublin green and their dark hunter green. That's a green I can wear. Let's see, I got a few more of my scraps from that blanket, I believe. What else is this one? Another one that I put Braille on. This is the brindle, right? Got my Braille on the label. That's the brindle that's left over from my blanket. This is what the brindle looks like. It's more of a medium brown. It's not as dark. This, I believe, is my sienna, which was also left over from the blanket. I believe this is the sienna. Let's see. Sienna. Okay. So this is the sienna. So they have multiple shades of browns, right? This is the difference in the sienna and the brindle. You can tell the sienna's got a little bit more red to it than the brindle, right? So that's nice when you want to do like a blanket like this one. It's really nice to be able to have a variety of, shades. Like that blanket's got the two different browns, the brindle and the sienna and the Dublin and the pea pod. So it has a lot of shades, which makes it nice so that you can do this is another brown in the Brava bulky, and I believe, this might not be bulky. This doesn't feel like bulky at all, does it? This feels like sport. I think this is the sport weight. That's what the sport weight looks like. I haven't been showing you what the strands look like, but I believe this is another brown. I believe this is the umber heather. So that's the sport weight on the skein. And let's look at the bulky. This is the bulky in tranquil. And this is we can pull a strand. Look at the bulky. Look at the size. Look at the size. This tranquil's really pretty. I'm kind of thinking about making a blanket with it. It's very pretty. It's soft. It's really soft. Thinking about a baby blanket, but this is a nice size. Look at the size of the bulky on there, right? And then we have a few more. I think that's another tranquil. Yeah. This is my pea pod. If you want to know what the pea pod looks like up in the skein, this is your pea pod. It's a nice green. I probably couldn't wear this green, right? But it's still a nice green for blankets and for donations, right? I think you could use the pea pod in like spring projects for spring greens or spring pastels. I think you could do it for summer. I think you could do it for fall mixed with your browns and your reds. I think you might be able to even use that green for Christmas. So, a lot of versatility with there just because I can't wear that color. So, and look at this blanket, y'all. I love this blanket. This is made in the sky. Let me be the first to tell you, I did not design this blanket, okay? This is a paid for pattern. I paid for this, did not design it. It's in the Brava bulky. Look at that. It's an airplane, y'all. How cool. And it's tactile. Like, it is completely tactile. We got like these stars. We got tactile stars. And we got like tactile clouds on there. Like, how fun is this, right? How fun is this? So, and a tactile airplane that's worked in a reverse stockinette on a stockinette background, and then garter stitch wings. Like, there's just so much. And this is just done in knit and purl. So if you're new to knitting, right, and you're like, I just know how to knit and purl, but I don't know how to do cables yet, or lace, then you can start doing these picture blankets, and it's a great way to practice your knit and purl, and without having to do any shaping, without having to do any cables, without having to do any lace. And if you're visually impaired, then you can actually see the details of what you're working on. This pattern is not just charted like for visual folks, it's actually written out in rows, so it's great if you're visually impaired because you don't have to try to read a chart. And I'll be honest with you, like I couldn't even see the pictures. I paid for this pattern and I couldn't see the detail on the picture. When I made it, I discovered there's way more detail. Like there's a windows on the plane that I didn't even see, and I was making it up and I was thinking like, what's going on there, right? I just assumed it was an outline of a plane with some clouds and stuff. And I didn't even know that there was like windows on the plane until I knit it. And then I was like, what? Wow, like the detail on this is so cool. And it's just knit and purl, and so you get to practice and get a better understanding of how to do knit stockinette, how to do reverse stockinette, how to do garter stitch, how it all works up flat, and how you can use it all to make pictures, right? To use your stockinette, to use your reverse stockinette, to use your garter stitch, and make these really, really cool pictures. So we might have to make this blanket again because it's super, super fun. I don't know if I have enough sky blue with this in the house. I wonder if we need to get more sky blue Brava in the house. I mean, just saying, might be fun to remake that. So the Brava bulky is great. It's really great for these fun picture blankets. And then of course, okay, let me first, just as their first time on the channel, kind of embarrassed to show them, because what do I say on here? May's not good at amigurumi at all. That is not my strength. That's why I've never showed these on the channel, because they're not good. But I did use Brava worsted and Brava bulky to make some amigurumi bees. Now, I'm not good at amigurumi. Okay, so that's not the yarn's fault. I used the wrong hook size. I needed to, when I made these, I was still really new to crochet and I wasn't good at working with smaller hooks. So I really used too big of hooks on these. I used on the bulky, normally I would say on the bulky, you could easily use a 6.5, a 7, an 8, even a 9 on the bulky, and probably like a 5.5 to a 6.5 on the worsted. But of course, if you know about amigurumi, you know you want to hook down, right, to keep those stitches nice and tight. Well, I wasn't good at that, so I did my bulky one on a 5.5 milli and my worsted on a 5 milli, including the antenna, and so you can really see the stuffing through them. So they're not very good. So if you're gonna do, I think it's a great yarn to do amigurumi plushies and toys with. Good stitches, washable for kids, but I would definitely go down to a 5 hook for the bulky, not the 5.5, so you don't have the stuffing coming through. You get tighter stitches, and then I would go down to a 4, probably a 4 milli or a 4.5, 4.25 on the number 4 worsted instead of the 5, and especially on the antenna, right? You can see all my stuffings poking through on my antenna. So I would definitely hook down to a 4 milli or maybe even a 3.75 to do things like antenna with it. But you can do it. I think it'd be great. I think now that I have more experience with crochet, I'd probably try to do the Brava bulky and the Brava bulky and maybe the Brava worsted for amigurumi again, because it works up nice. These are nice little plushies. These bees are really huggable. They're huggable bees. I told my sister I made her and I in bee format because my sister does not want to be on my YouTube channel. So the big bee is me, even though she's older than me. I'm bigger than her, okay? I just am. I'm bigger than my older sister. So this is me as a bee. I am bee creative because I'm creative. The smaller bee is my older sister, and her bee name is Bee Crafty. She's little and she's very crafty, right? She knits, she crochets, she sews, she embroiders, she quilts, she does cross stitch, she does all the crafts. So here we are as Bee Creative and Bee Crafty. So I would definitely try amigurumi again with both the worsted and the bulky, just hook down, right? So anyways, I do think it's a good yarn for beginners. If you're new to knitting and crochet, I think it's a great machine washable, easy care yarn. So let me know if you've worked with it before. Let me know what weights. Let me know what you like to make with it. Let me know, have you bought it before? Are you going to buy some? Well, it's 20% off. Let me know what you like to do with your Brava. Okay, well, I really hope that this was informative for you. I hope that helped you to get to know, if you've never purchased it before. I hope it helped you to get to know the yarn, and also to help you come up with some fun ideas, right? With everything from socks with your sport to amigurumi, plushies and blankets, right? And pumpkins with your DK, your worsted, and your bulky. Alrighty, well, thank you so much for listening. And you know what I like to say, right? Creativity is for everybody, whether you see or you see like me, which is not in color, or you don't see it all. Creativity is for you. Alrighty, well, until next time, happy stitching. Bye bye for now.